You see a cloud of white smoke pouring out of an exhaust on social media, and the caption promises restored horsepower and a like-new engine in just 10 minutes. It looks satisfying, almost magical. But what you are actually watching is often the final moments of a healthy engine before it suffers catastrophic failure. The industry of quick-fix carbon cleaning has exploded, pushing aggressive solvents, hydrogen machines, and Italian tune-ups as maintenance miracles. The reality: I have torn down engines that were perfectly fine until their owners decided to clean them, only to find bent connecting rods, shattered turbo wheels, and melted catalytic converters. Carbon buildup is real, but removing it requires surgical precision, not a chemical sledgehammer. If you use the wrong method on a modern direct injection or turbocharged engine, you aren't cleaning it. You are effectively feeding it a grenade. If you want to avoid a $5,000 mistake and learn how to actually maintain your engine safely, hit that subscribe button for Car Care Xpert right now. I am going to explain why liquid induction services are the #1 cause of bent rods in driveway mechanics, how a specific hydrogen treatment can burn your valves to a crisp, and why revving your engine to blow it out is actually embedding carbon deeper into the cylinder walls. We will cover the turbo death scenario that happens seconds after a cleaning, and I'll explain why your O2 sensors might never recover from a simple can of additive. Stick around, because detail number 10 reveals the silent killer that destroys your main bearings after the cleaning is finished, often leaving you stranded weeks later. Number 1, the Hydrolock nightmare. The most popular DIY carbon clean involves sucking a liquid cleaner, like seafoam or water, through a vacuum line while the engine runs. This is Russian roulette with your connecting rods. Liquids do not compress. If you let that vacuum line sip just a little too much fluid at once, or if the engine stumbles and the vacuum spikes, a slug of liquid enters the cylinder. The piston comes up, hits that uncompressible wall of liquid, and the connecting rod instantly buckles under the force. I have seen engines destroyed in seconds in a driveway, all because the owner tried to pour a cleaner into the intake faster than the engine could process it. Unless you are using a metered, professional drip system, you are risking immediate engine death. Number 2, the turbocharger turbine impact. If you have a turbocharged car, aggressive carbon cleaning can be fatal to the turbo itself. When you use strong solvents or shock treatments to break loose hard carbon deposits from the exhaust ports or manifold, those rock-hard chunks of carbon have to go somewhere. They get blasted out of the engine and fired directly into the spinning turbine wheel of your turbocharger. At idle, the turbo is spinning slowly, but if you rev it up, those carbon rocks hit the delicate turbine blades like shrapnel, chipping or shattering them. A chipped blade throws the turbo off balance, and within miles, the bearings scream and fail. You might clean the engine, but you will kill the turbo in the process. Number 3, hydrogen, HHO, overheating. Hydrogen carbon cleaning machines are trendy, pumping oxyhydrogen gas into the intake to burn off deposits. The problem is that hydrogen burns significantly hotter than gasoline. In an older engine with hot spots or carbon ridges, this intense increase in combustion temperature can cause localized overheating. I have seen valves that were already weak effectively torch or melt at the edges, and aluminum pistons that develop microwelds or pitting on the crown. While it works on some engines, on others, it pushes the thermal limits of the combustion chamber way too far, turning a maintenance procedure into a cylinder head rebuild. Number 4, the catalytic converter meltdown. Where do you think all that dissolved sludge and chemical solvent goes? Straight into your catalytic converter. Your CAT operates at a very specific temperature range. When you send raw solvents and a rich mixture of dislodged hydrocarbons down the pipe, the converter acts like a furnace, superheating to burn it all off. This thermal shock can melt the honeycomb structure inside, turning your expensive emissions device into a molten brick. You might clear the code for a misfire, only to trigger a permanent P0420 code for a dead converter that costs 4 times as much as the cleaning service. Number 5, the Italian tune-up valve float. There is an old myth that redlining your car on the highway blows out the carbon. In 2026, this is dangerous advice for neglected engines. If your valve stems are already sticky with heavy carbon deposits, revving the engine to the red line can cause valve float, where the valve spring isn't strong enough to pull the heavy, sticky valve shut before the piston comes back up. The result? The piston smacks the valve, bending it instantly. Blowing it out only works on a healthy engine. On a dirty one, it forces components to move faster than the sludge allows, leading to physical collisions inside the head. Number 6. Stripping cylinder wall coatings. Modern engines, especially from European manufacturers, often use specialized coatings on the cylinder walls like Alisil or Nicosil instead of iron liners. Harsh, old-school solvent cleaners that are based on aggressive acetones or chlorinated chemicals can chemically attack these coatings. Once you strip or score that microscopic layer, the piston rings will start eating into the soft aluminum block. You won't notice it immediately, but your oil consumption will skyrocket within a few months. And there is no fix for a scored Alisil block other than a total engine replacement. You must be 100% sure the chemical is safe for coated cylinders, not just iron blocks. Number 7. Oxygen sensor poisoning. O2 sensors are the nose of your car's computer, and they are incredibly sensitive to silicone and phosphorus. Many intake cleaners, or top engine lubricants, contain silicone or silicates to lube the upper cylinder. When these burn, they coat the O2 sensor tip in a glass-like glaze. This poisons the sensor, making it lazy or completely unresponsive. The car will run rich, waste fuel, and eventually foul your plugs, all because the chemical you sprayed was never meant to pass through a sensitive wideband oxygen sensor. Number 8. The chunk valve jam. This is a specific risk for direct injection engines with heavy intake valve buildup. When you use a chemical to soften that rock-hard carbon, it often doesn't dissolve completely. It breaks off in chunks. If a large chunk breaks loose and falls into the cylinder, it can get caught between the valve and the valve seat as the valve tries to close. This holds the valve open, resulting in zero compression on that cylinder. You go to start the car after the clean, and it runs on 3 cylinders because a piece of carbon rock is wedged in the door. Often, the head has to be removed just to clear the debris. Number 9. Throttle body moly stripping. Many modern throttle bodies have a gray, conductive coating around the butterfly plate, often made of molybdenum. This coating seals the air gap for a precise idle. If you scrub this with a toothbrush and aggressive carburetor cleaner, you strip this coating right off. Suddenly, your car's idle is high or erratic because too much air is slipping past the plate. The computer can't learn its way around this hardware damage. You ruined a $400 electronic part because you thought you were just scrubbing off dirt. Number 10. Oil contamination and bearing spin. This is the silent killer that gets you 2 weeks later. When you flood an engine with solvents to clean the rings or valves, a significant amount of that harsh chemical flows past the piston rings and into your oil pan. It mixes with your engine oil, thinning it out and destroying its film strength. If you do not change your oil immediately after a carbon cleaning service, you are driving with compromised lubrication. The solvent attacks the bearings, and a few hundred miles later, you hear the dreaded knock-knock of a spun rod bearing. You successfully cleaned the carbon, but you washed away the protection for your crankshaft in the process. Carbon cleaning is not a game, and it is certainly not a magic bottle solution. The only 100% safe way to clean a modern engine is the hard way. Removing the intake manifold and using walnut blasting media that is soft enough to clean the metal but hard enough to remove the gunk, with the valves closed so nothing enters the cylinder. Everything else, from magic sprays to hydrogen machines, carries a risk that you need to weigh carefully against the value of your car. Don't let a $10 can of solvent turn your daily driver into a driveway ornament. If this warning saved your engine from a liquid death, hit that like button and share it with a friend who loves their miracle sprays. Keep your valves sealing, your rods straight, and I will see you in the next one.